said before, for anyone who's jumping on now, if you have questions throughout today's meeting, please throw them into the chat. I will send those through so that we don't have too much clutter with noise. Please leave your mics muted aside from that, or aside from the very end where we'll open it up to listings and buyer needs that you may have. We do have 2 properties that have little video presentations to feature towards the end here. Before we jump into it, I did want to let everybody know for Premier Properties, there are going to be price adjustments coming up. So starting May 1st, so you have a little bit of time here, all of the prices are being adjusted for the counties around us. The new prices for a Premier property are going to be Spokane will be $750, Deer Park $600, 9 Mile $600, Kootenai County $800, Bonner $800, Boundary $700, and Shoshone will be $700 as well. I will update all of our forms and send out with the follow-up email from this meeting. I'll send out a sheet for you to print off for yourself, to share with your clients, whatever that may be. So keep an eye out for that. And just remember, when you do get those Premier properties, to get them registered and use the program. So to get going with today's meeting, we have Melissa Helvey here with Crafted. She comes the last few years now to give us our design updates, what to expect for 2021. I guess now that we're kind of into it, just all the crazy cool new things that are coming out and what trends are popular and what might not be popular anymore. So thank you, Melissa, for joining us today. We appreciate it very much. I'll hand it over to you and let you do your thing.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for having me back again. It's always such a pleasure to present to this group. So just to start off, a little bit about me. I've been doing this presentation for about the last 9 years. I think I've been doing it for Premier Properties for about 5 years. This year is a little different. Usually I do this trend report based on my findings at the International Builder Show and the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show. But due to COVID, that show was canceled in person this year. They did try to have a virtual meeting, a virtual launch, and it didn't go as planned. So I just kind of did research, based it on my experiences, what I've been seeing locally as trends have emerged, and just what's going on in the market in general. So a little bit about me. I am the owner of Crafted Kitchen Design. We've been in business for 5 years. We specialize in kitchen and bath design, remodels, as well as custom home design. We really focus on helping our clients navigate the millions of choices that need to be made, keeping them on track, on budget, and keeping a cohesive design concept throughout the project. I have a bachelor's of science in interior design from the Art Institute of Portland. I have been an NKBA member since 2006, that's National Kitchen and Bath Association. And I am a certified kitchen and bath designer through the National Kitchen and Bath Association. I've served on the board of the Home Builders Association. Last year, I was Pro Remodelers, one of the 40 under 40 winners. Done a lot of design competitions, NKBA's Professional of the Year, People's Pick. So I'm all in. I love what I do, and I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to do what I love. So we'll jump into it. Whoops. So a big part of the design trends and the conversations have been, what has COVID's impact been on design? And a big product standpoint, our products, we've seen a huge influx of products being launched that are focusing on hygiene and cleanliness. Obviously, washing your hands has been the mantra we've all heard incessantly over the last year. So almost every manufacturer has come out with some kind of a voice IQ faucet. So you can talk to your faucet. Delta's kind of commercials that have been running and product line they've been touting is their voice IQ, and you can sync it with your Alexa device or Google Home, and you can say, Delta, wash my hands. So it will turn on the water, and then it will, so You can get your hands wet, turn on the water, soap up, and then it will turn it off, and then it will automatically turn the water back on in 20 seconds. So it's kind of cute to have you wash your hands for that designated time period. You can also set it to ask Delta to fill your dog's water bowl. So it has these preset quantities so that it's ready to go. This middle one is Delta launched this last year. It's their glass rinser. So it's just an accessory that you add in conjunction with your faucet, and it has a high pressure water stream that then drains into your sink. So kind of similar to what a lot of the coffee shops have. This is a great way to rinse baby bottles, water bottles, smoothie cups, and again, just kind of focusing on that hygiene, cleanliness, and wellness. Touchless toilets and bidet seats. These had a huge influx this year, especially with the toilet paper shortage. So now everyone's considering a bidet seat option. I was lucky enough to be gifted a bidet seat from one of my vendors after last year's show. And it is installed in my master bath at home. And it's probably my and my husband's favorite part of our home. So it's an interesting technology, but it's definitely gaining traction. Flexible workspaces. So as you all know, everyone is working from home, and we're continuing to see that trend even as things are opening up, as people are realizing that the ability to work from home, the additional time you have because you're saving on commuting. So creating flexible workspaces. This was a kind of an office space that we transformed into a homework zone for the kids. This is kind of a command center that's built into the kitchen. Another COVID related trend is we've seen enhanced outdoor living areas. So larger patios, covered patios, built-in outdoor kitchens. This project here, these are big, large, big double sliding doors. So kind of when they're open, you're extending your living space out into your porch, your patio, your deck. So really creating those spaces that you can enjoy while you're at home instead of having to look for opportunities to go out and find those spaces. Better storage solutions. So everyone's spending a lot more time at home and realizing that we need our homes to function a lot more efficiently. We are having a little more time in our homes to organize and focus on those kinds of elements. So we're seeing a huge influx of different organizational tools coming out that can be built into the cabinetry or built into the home. So this is something we call like a styling station. So it has ports for your curling iron and your blow dryer. And then it also has an outlet. So you can pre-wire that, everything's hidden away, everything has a place. This is a master closet I did about a year ago. And they wanted a kind of a hidden safe room, gun storage, that kind of thing. So this is a bookshelf shoe storage that once closed, that door kind of goes away. So those built-ins acting as a double purpose. This is really popular. I try to incorporate these pullouts in a lot of my designs. One is a knife block utensil storage, and then on the other side we have a spice oil pullout. So increasing functionality, but also cleanliness in the sense that all of these things are not cluttering up the countertops any longer. Larger conversation spaces. So everyone's gathering in their homes. And so we're creating, again, it's kind of that open concept, great room concept. It's very much continuing, and we're seeing that continue to be the trend. Island seating, opening up to more comfortable living room seating, family room seating that's all integrated into a space. So you can have the whole family, extended family that's able to gather comfortably at home. these aren't necessarily COVID related trends, but these have been kind of trends that have been building over the last couple of years. I've been talking about workstation sinks for probably 4 or 5 years now, and they just continue to gain traction. Right here, this is an example of Bronke's Chef Center, and it's a large basin, and then it has 2 bins that are designed into the sink, and depending on what function you're doing, what kind of activity you're doing, these can change function. So here, this is shown as a compost bin. This one's shown where they're keeping their soap and their sponge, and then it has a grate that you can kind of prep your veggies. There's a lot of accessories with these workstation sinks, ranging from knife blocks to cutting boards to colanders to drain boards. So it just is really extending your available workspace and maximizing that function. Water filtration. So last year I introduced the zip water faucet that had a combination of filtered water, boiling water, and seltzer water. So we're seeing again a continuation of this trend. Brizo launched a matching water filter faucet to their standard faucet line. So when we're mixing metals and we're having these highly stylized faucets, we can now accomplish that extension of that product line in the water filtration. This is something I've seen a couple of the builders in Coeur d'Alene built them into their Parade of Homes houses last year, is this LK bottle filling system. So again, it's kind of focusing on wellness, drinking more water. Also, kind of the green focus is we're trying to reduce our plastic consumption. So having glass, metal, reusable water bottles that you can fill at home with quality water. As far as finish trends, matte black is still very much dominating the market in plumbing, hardware. We're seeing a huge influx in cabinetry. So in this kitchen, we have a matte black cabinet paired with a walnut. So we're seeing the whites and the blacks, but we're seeing those paired with warm wood tones. So we're kind of creating this combination of clean, minimalistic, modern with the warm comforting elements of wood. Another thing to point out in this slide is clean lines. So going back to that cleanliness, that streamlining, declutterization of things, is we're having simple details that are focusing on craftsmanship and quality. Geometry and pattern, especially in tile, have been a huge influx this year. All the new tile patterns coming out and product launches are some kind of a geometry and pattern focus. So the hexagon has been incredibly popular over the last couple of years, and we're seeing that trend continue in a variety of shapes. Well, not shapes, hexagon is the shape, in a variety of sizes, finishes, formats. The rhomboid, which is kind of this diamond shape, putting in patterns that create a larger hexagon. Also varieties of herringbone and chevron, just continuing that trend of pattern and geometry. And then this is a little accent wall in a powder bath used with herringbone reclaimed wood. So again, mixing those warm wood elements into modern design. Vent hoods are becoming a focal point. So again, that continued trend of seeing the wood elements integrated into the design, having the hood be kind of an accent, a focal point in the kitchen, has become pretty prominent in recent design trends. Whether it's wood wrapped, whether it's a stainless chimney hood with a dramatic backsplash design, or whether it's a contrasting color. In this kitchen, the island was the same color as the hood. So keeping those materials kind of cohesive throughout the kitchen, but adding those accents. Coffee stations. So going back to having a place for everything and everything in its place, creating purposeful places for certain activities. So coffee is a big part of a lot of people's lives. And so creating a place where you can conveniently access the coffee and have everything that goes with it in that location. So this is a huge growing trend in kitchen design, is designing some kind of a coffee station into the kitchen. Drop zones. So whether this is integrated into the kitchen, the mudroom, the laundry room, a hallway, it's important that everything has a place and everything goes in its place. So having a place where people can sit down, can dump off your shoes, hang up your coats. This particular one on the left-hand side is kind of an extension of the kitchen that I showed you in a couple slides ago. And so on the left-hand side, we have hanging coat storage inside the pantry. On the right-hand side, we actually have food pantry storage. So it's integrated, but it's separate. It's right off the entry door, and it provides that function and organization that people are desiring. And then this is kind of a COVID-related trend in the sense that virtual design has become a very big part of my work, my life. Twofold is that if we can't meet in person, this is a great opportunity to continue to moving forward on the design process. But also, especially in this area, and more so even in North Idaho, where we're seeing people coming in from out of state, buying houses sight unseen, not wanting to move up until they're completely renovated. So I may only meet these people in person once, and we do 95% of the design process virtually. So having 3D design software that can communicate the design intent, give us the flexibility of changing out materials in real time, and giving the clients the confidence in their decisions. So this is a kitchen I'm currently working on. This is the before picture. And these are some of the 3D renderings that we're working through to kind of create what's the new design going to be. So you can see some of those trends we were talking about in this design. So we've got black, white, clean lines with some integrated warm wood details. This is another project. This is a mid-century modern up on the South Hill that's being renovated. And so keeping that aesthetic is really important, but giving it a little more of a updated, fresh look. So in this, we actually busted out this wall, opened it up a little bit more, but still maintain that mid-century modern aesthetic. This is another client. So she really wasn't sure what kind of look she wanted. And so I was able to come up with 3 different design concepts and 3 different kind of material layouts, all virtually, so that we could explore what different looks would look like and how it would impact the function and the design of the kitchen. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. If anyone has any questions, now is the time to throw them into the chat. I actually had one question just while other people get a chance to type up if they had any. My question is with the cleaning, or when it comes to cleaning the lines for the things like the bottle fillers that are by the front door or wherever it is in the house. I know in refrigerators, like you have to clean the water line every once in a while to keep it fresh and all that kind of stuff. With those, is there a lot of maintenance that goes into those separate pieces?
Not necessarily. They all have filters. So the filters still have to get changed maybe every 6 months or so. But they're filtered at the site. So you don't necessarily have to clean the supply lines coming up to it.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so we do have a few questions that are coming through. One is, I hear farmhouse is going out, ? Is that true?
Thank you, Kelly. Good to hear from you. Farmhouse is still, people are still watching HGTV. People are saving, they want their modern farmhouse. It's still very much on trend, but it's I think it is kind of waning. when something is so popular, it starts to kind of get overdone. Personally, as a design professional, I'm kind of tired of it just because I feel like I'm not able to exercise my creativity because it's all kind of been done. So what is part of that trend that I will see continuing going forward is the clean, simplistic elements of it. So I was reading the NKBA trend report for 2021, and they said we will continue to see long subway tiles for the next 3 to 5 years prevalent in design.
Awesome. Could you talk about color trends and whether white kitchens are out of trend? What colors are coming in?
All white kitchens are starting to trend out as we're wanting a little more fun, warmth. So what we're seeing is we're still seeing white cabinets, but they're being mixed with wood tones. They're being mixed with contrasting bold colors like matte black or blues, greens. This year's color of the year, Pantone color of the year, is a bright yellow called Illumination. So we are seeing those pops of color becoming not only accents, but features in the kitchen.
Sure. On the color side of things, also a question, if navy blue, do you think that's going to go out of style, or do you think it's going to be a timeless color design?
I mean, timeless is a hard word to talk about design because everything is cyclical. So you could say anything's timeless because you wait long enough and it'll circle back around. I think navy blue has a purpose. Like if you're doing more kind of a colonial era home, it's period to that house. Or if you're using it as an accent that is something that's personally appealing to you. But as like, this is the only thing you should be using, this is the color, I would say that that's kind of, again, trending out.
Sure. What about trends for appliance finishes and specifically like the gold accents and stuff like that?
Stainless steel is still king, and only in the sense is that it's the most widely offered. It gives you the flexibility to mix and match your brands. But what we're definitely seeing in middle to high end manufacturers are other color options, as far as like matte white, matte black, and then being able to customize those appliances. So changing your handle colors to brushed gold, brushed bronze. Copper is kind of an emerging metal trend that's we're seeing coming about. Matte black. So being able to customize those appliances, but for the most part, stainless is still prevalent.
Awesome. Could you tell us a little bit about pricing, what you're typically seeing for these kitchen remodels, whether there's, whether you charge for a design plan or if you have contractors, just kind of how the pricing works for what you do?
You bet. So your average, now this is published in Remodeler magazine, and they take a survey of 200 metropolitan areas throughout the country, and Spokane actually ranks within that 200. So the price points they're giving for mid to high end remodels is about $60,000 to $120,000. Now that's all determined on square footage and you know, how much you're moving. So if you're moving all your plumbing, if you're breaking down walls, if you're modifying the exterior, but that $60,000 to $120,000 range is where most of my projects land. And that range is dictated. So you could have the same kitchen, and what's going to change it from a $60,000 kitchen to a $120,000 kitchen are your appliance selections, the customization of your cabinetry and the accessories that go in it, and then the quality and level of finished materials. So an entry level quartz or granite versus a quartzite type of a countertop. So how my fees work and how my company works is we consult with the client. So a client would hire us directly. We charge a fixed design fee. That's a percentage of the overall project, estimated project cost. So if it's a $60,000 kitchen, I need my calculator to do this. Do you think I'd have these memorized? But I don't. So a $60,000 kitchen, our overall design fees would be 4 to 5% of that. So our design fees would be $2,400. And then those are broken out into 2 phases. And basically what that does is it gives a fixed fee for the client to budget into their project. It provides us the ability to offer the full service. And so what that full service is coming out and measuring, meeting with them, creating construction documents, going through that design exploration process of figuring out the right layout, the right finishes with the 3D renderings, and then going through the specification process of picking everything out, documenting it, consulting them on budget, and then coordinating all of that with a contractor. So we have a list of preferred contractors that we have vetted and worked with, that we encourage our clients to work with if they don't have somebody already, just because it provides that kind of seamless transition.
Sure. I'm trying to group some of these questions together. So I'm kind of doing, if you don't hear your question in order, don't worry, I'm going to loop back around to it, just trying to kind of hit as many birds as I can with one stone. So there's a few items here that are just specific questions on like in or out. So I'm going to just give you the list of things that they're asking about. We're talking about barn doors, if they're in or out, if there's any trends in lighting. And I thought I saw one more. Okay, we'll start with those ones. So barn doors, and are there lighting trends right now?
Barn doors are still popular. However, I think we are kind of somewhat transitioning out of that industrial farmhousey period. And so we're seeing the sliding door concept, but they're kind of transitioning away from barn doors and being more of an accent piece. So we're seeing painted colors. We're seeing hardware that isn't quite so bulky and industrial. The function of the barn door is still a nice design element, in the sense that it creates a closed off area, but still provides an accent piece. So barn doors aren't necessarily going out, they're just kind of transitioning what the styling is behind them. Lighting is kind of all over the place because there's so many different design trends that are popular right now. And each trend, and when I'm saying trend or design style, I'm talking like modern farmhouse or mid-century modern or Scandinavian or industrial or mountain modern. All of these styles have groupings of lighting that are going with them. So what's neat about lighting is that you can pretty much find whatever you're looking for. The challenging part is there's so much out there. It can take hours to sort through all of the opportunities and the choices and the different metals and finishes that are available. So I would say the general trend in lighting is LED. Almost everything is becoming LED. You can get Edison bulbs that are all LED now. And the fact that people are utilizing lighting more and more as those accents, those focal points.
Sure. Chris is asking if, he said he's heard, and I've heard as well, that more defined spaces were coming back, especially just since COVID. You were mentioning that open concept was still popular. Could you touch on that?
Yeah, you bet. So the open concept is more popular, but what we're seeing is we're kind of seeing it on a smaller scale. So that's absolutely right, is we're creating more conversation spaces, but we're creating them in smaller segments throughout the home, because with everyone being home, the noise level has increased significantly and people are kind of reacting to this. So like in this kitchen up at the top, we open this kitchen up, it has a smaller family room associated with it, but we didn't elect to knock out this whole wall and open this entire floor up to each other. We wanted to maintain some of those closed spaces to provide that privacy, but still providing an open space for the family to gather.
Awesome. Here's another one that's kind of I'm going to combine two into one. it's touching on whether it's possible or recommended to do smaller kind of remodels. If you don't have the money or the budget to do a full remodel, are there ways to incorporate just like the storage, organization type things to it? And if you were to do just bits and pieces of a remodel without doing the full thing, what items do you think have the biggest impact, whether it's flooring, countertops, appliances? What makes the biggest difference, especially when for resale?
Yeah, that's a challenging question. I'm sure you all deal with this on a regular basis, is what is the right amount of money and how do you spend it to impact your resellability? I don't encourage clients to do full-blown remodels just for resale, because it's hard to anticipate what the potential buyer is going to want. You could go and dump in a ton of money on new countertops, new flooring, paint your cabinets and give it a refresh look, but they come in and they're like, oh, I hate the color that they chose. So if you're specifically doing it for resale, I would say minimal improvements and that make the most visual impact. Most of the time, potential buyers aren't necessarily going to open up all the cabinet doors and drawers and see what kind of accessories you have in them. It's the first impression visual impacts that are going to have the most bang for your buck. Adding cabinet knobs to cabinets that don't have them, that's a fairly simple, quick and easy approach. Changing out light fixtures, some of those things that don't necessarily have that domino effect that flooring or countertops do. If you change out your countertops, you have to change out your backsplash. If you change out your flooring, you have to remove and replace your base trim. So staying away from kind of those domino effect pieces that would and could cost more. If you're doing it to just improve the kitchen for yourself, that's when those organizational tools come in. And then it's kind of on a case-by-case basis of what's important, how much you want to spend, and then we can analyze what's the most bang for your buck.
Awesome. Okay, I think we hit all the questions. If you guys have more questions, you can always email them to me. I can send a list over to Melissa to see if she can just answer some quick questions if you have something that comes to you later. I'll send out this little contact page as well with our follow-up email in case you guys want to get in touch. That way you have her contact information for future projects or whatever you might need to do. Yeah, thank you, Melissa. We appreciate it. And hopefully next year we'll have some Vegas stories for you to tell us.
Yes. Vegas, Orlando. I don't know. They haven't announced anything about KBIS 2022. I think they're a little gun shy right now, but it goes back and forth between Vegas and Orlando, and both have their highlights. So if not, I'll certainly come up with interesting stuff to share with you guys and market trends. Hopefully we'll continue. I mean, this has been the busiest year I've seen. I'm sure it's been the busiest year you all have seen as well. So thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Randy, for bringing me back again and letting me to continue redesigning your kitchen. So I look forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And yes, I will be sending out